So how would I start a rent-to-rent business now alongside a full-time job? This is a question I get asked a lot, and I'm going to cover it for you here. Hello and welcome to the Property Unleashed YouTube channel. My name's Mark Fitzgerald and it's great to have you here. When I started in rent-to-rent, I took voluntary redundancy and I basically burnt all the bridges. I threw myself at it 100%. And it was either, if I failed, I'd have to go and get a job. But if I succeeded, I could build a business, I could build a cash flowing business that would replace my income and give me the time freedom I want to spend with my family and loved ones, which is what I love the most. I did achieve it. Within 6 months, I'd replaced my corporate wage. Within 8 months, I doubled my corporate wage and I've grown ever since then. I'm not here to grow a rent-to-rent business just for the sake of growing a rent-to-rent business. I have found a happy medium of properties that I need and that I want, so that I still have the time freedom, so I can serve the landlords, the tenants, I can look after the business, but equally to that, I have the time freedom to do the things that I enjoy. One of those is talking to you today. So how would I do this if I was starting out again? Well, I know, and I now help people that are doing the same on coaching and on the rent-to-rent business builder course. So I see a lot of people that are still in their corporate job, and I would recommend that potentially if you've got a job, and you're starting doing this, try and stay in that job. If you really hate that job, then it's up to you to do what you want to do. But I would never tell anybody or recommend to anybody right now, quit your job and throw everything at rent to rent, because you still need to be able to keep the lights on. You still need to have some money. I've seen people try and do that, but I wouldn't recommend that. I would try and do it alongside it, because you'll have that peace of mind. You won't have the worry that you're worried about where the next paycheck's coming on, how you're going to keep the lights turned on in this day and age. And also, you'll also have a bit of peace of mind there, so that you can spend on your marketing. You can also spend and get yourself out there, put yourself in front of people. If you have no income and you have no money, you're going to struggle to build anything, because you won't be able to put yourself out there the way you need to. So try and make sure that your costs or your living costs are as low as possible. If you have to go down to the bare minimum and sacrifice for 12 months, 24 months, do it, because it'll be worth it in the long run. You'll build up a pot of money in the background that you can put into your rent-to-rent business, and you'll be able to get out there and you'll be able to make things happen a lot quicker with a bit of finance behind you. Remember, I like to set rent-to-rent up as a property business and make sure that it is run as a business. So you will need, to make sure that you have a little level of money there. It doesn't need to be massive. I see people wanting to have 10,000. You don't need 10,000 to start a rent-to-rent business, but you will need some money to start a rent-to-rent business, or any business for that matter. So make sure that you have a little pot behind you. It doesn't have to be massive. Or make sure that you know what you're doing, you have the right training, and you've got the right roadmap and environment to push you forward and support and help you. So if I was working full time, and I was when I started rent to rent, don't get me wrong, I wasn't working long when I'd actually started to try and find deals and things, but I worked a corporate job. I worked probably, well, I'm supposed to have worked 40 hours a week, but it was probably more along the lines of 60. I was a manager. I had teams of people below me, and I worked a long hours. Also, we worked sometimes on Saturday mornings as well to get that extra production done. So they were demanding hours. It was normally from about 7 o'clock in the morning till about 6 o'clock at night, sometimes a bit later. So for me, it was really, I'm going to have to sacrifice my own free time to knuckle down to make this happen. So what I used to do was, in those days, I never really got up early. Now I probably would have got up a bit earlier, because I understand how important it is to make sure that you make this happen, and how exciting it is as well when you have your own business. So now I would probably get up at like 5 o'clock and have an hour on my property business before I went to work. And then maybe just go to bed a bit earlier. Or the flip side to that is, if you're a night owl, then obviously I have children, so it makes life a little bit more difficult. If you don't have family or children or anything to worry about, then when you get home from work, you can have some dinner, and then you can get your head down and start building up your property business. I mean, in the beginning, if you're looking at training, or you're learning, or you're reading, or you're watching YouTube videos and things to help you get up the experience that you need in rent to rent, then try and set aside, half an hour just for doing that, for making all the notes and things, and then have an hour for taking action. So what I would try and do is, in my case, I put modules out there in the training and things. So I would follow somebody's training. I would follow mine, because that's why I built it. If I was to start out again, this is the exact procedures and the exact thing I would do to put myself back to where I am now. But I would watch a module and then I would maybe spend the next day taking action on what I just learned, so it's fresh in my head so I can get going. So I always say you're probably actually going to spend a little bit more time when starting out if you're still learning. If you know what you're doing, then it's really just try and have an hour a day, and you won't always need an hour a day. You'll be putting your marketing together, you'll be out there networking, and you'll be talking to people. Now, if you're working funny shifts, you can still do viewings in and around your work. You can still do viewings if you're working Monday to Friday. For me, as I say, I used to work Monday to Friday with the odd Saturday morning, but I would have done viewings in the evenings and just said, we're chock-a-block in the day, but I can come and see the property in the evening. Most people are in a similar boat as well. You have lunch breaks that you can potentially try and do it, or you just try and schedule things for the weekend. You know, worst case scenario is you can make it happen. You might not be able to do it for the next few days, but what I will tell you is I've spoken to landlords before and they've never said, come and have a look now. They've never said, come and have a look the next day. Sometimes it can take a few days to actually get that in place. So maybe you've got some flexi time, or you can take a little bit of time off, or anything like that, some holiday days that if it was scheduled for next week, you could put a holiday day in and sort it out. If you want to make it happen, you will make it happen. But I would do that, and I would build up a level of financial freedom before I quit my job. So by getting out there, by talking to the agents, talking to the landlords, fitting it in around your other job, making sure that you set time out. As again, I have kids and things. So what I used to do was I would get home from work, have some tea, have some time with the kids. They were a bit younger then, put them to bed. And then normally when I'd be sat in front of the telly or just chilling out, I would actually then maybe put myself on the kitchen table and do some studying, do some work, get some marketing materials ready, look at what I was doing, send some emails, send some messages out and get that done. You can also, I used to do a little bit on the laptop, sat on the sofa with the wife, so I'm still with her. You know, she's not all on her own, but she understood the importance of what I needed to do, and she understood that it would benefit us all if I managed to achieve it. And you'll find it fun. Initially, when you start anything, it's all good fun. So enjoy the process and enjoy the journey, but do try and build it up alongside a full-time job. Now, when you actually get the properties and things, if you've got your phone systems and your messaging systems in place, you've got a good tenant management system if you're doing HMOs, and obviously a good system if you're doing serviced accommodation and all of that. Again, the same sort of channels. You can still monitor it, and you can still pretty much run it from a phone or from a laptop anywhere that you are. What I will say is, though, just make sure it doesn't affect the job that you're doing. I.e., you still need to be able to give 100% to the job that you're currently in. As much as you maybe don't want to, and you want to change it and move away from that and you're resenting it, you still need to give them what you've agreed to give them contractually. So make sure that you're not going to get the sack through doing anything like this, that you've actually put yourself in the right position to be able to be fair to everybody. And it might take a bit longer to do it this way, but that doesn't matter. We're not going anywhere. Enjoy the process, get yourselves out there, make sure you've got the money coming in, the peace of mind coming in. I have students that have done this. I have students that have the properties and they still have the money coming in, so they have their rent-to-rent business money's building up nicely. They're still living off of their wage, and they're actually building some really good wealth, looking to invest in more property, looking to invest and grow their business. You can do the same, and I hope this video's helped you. I have a free 10-step rent-to-rent guide, a deal analyzing spreadsheet, and a viewings guide if you'd like to download any of those to help you on your journey, to help you gather a bit more information. And of course, I have the Rent-to-Rent Business Builder, a 90-day program where I support, look after you, handhold you to your first deals and beyond, to make sure that you're building the life that you desire. Hope this video's helped you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. You take care. Bye for now.